Hey guys, good practice today.
Man, I'm hungry.
Me too. I know just the spot. Go long. Go way longer.
Everyone knows the best route for good times and great food takes you to Whiskey River in Ankeny. Lunch, late nights, or just catching up with friends? This is your spot.
About time you guys got here.
Well, you did have a head start.
In the heart of the district, Whiskey River.
We recommend listening to the CW pod with a glass of Steeple Ridge Bourbon. Grown, distilled, well-rested, and bottled in Erling, Iowa. Now from the Channel Seed Studios, this is the CW pod, fueled by Steeple Ridge.
What's up, everybody? It is the 6th of August when I'm recording this, and Tuesday. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Steeple Ridge. A little getaway to the Lake of the Ozarks late last week, and a little getaway here late this week to Atlanta. Going to my first ever Braves game. I've seen the Braves in Fenway, Kauffman, Minnesota, Wrigley, St. Louis, a couple other places. I've never been to a game in Atlanta. So I'm looking forward to that. I was joking with Andrew Downs and Matt Van Winkle, who are filling in on two guys this week, and I was joking with them yesterday that they're not the only baseball fans left. I still love baseball. It's just I don't care if it's not the Braves. And looking forward to that. Little bucket list. For me, it's not a playoff game, but it's the second best thing. I'm going to take my little girls to do a little sightseeing down there in the great south of the United States. So looking forward to that. And then we'll be back next week with completely refreshed and ready to go for the season. I do have some sports conversation to get into today, some monologue stuff, which is what I'm going to do here on CW Pod. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Steeple Ridge in the Lonely Oak Distillery in Erling, Iowa. I love that bourbon. I had some racers. Danny Lasowski, the dude, one of the all-time great sprint car drivers in history of the world. Really, it's a worldwide sport. He's Knoxville guy now, and he came in and did a podcast with me and Gio Selzy on Monday and gave him a bottle of the Iowa Everywhere Steeple Ridge, and he thought it was the coolest shit ever. He was ready to go to Erling and go and check out. So, Pat, you may have some dirt racers coming your way, buddy. Channel Seed Studios, of course, couldn't thank them enough for all that they do. And what about that sweet pre-roll for the video audience of the Iowa State players and Whiskey River? Thanks to Whiskey River in Ankeny. It's one of my favorite spots in Ankeny for coming on and sponsoring the show as well. I got my little girl. Everybody's on vacation still here in the Williams house. So if you hear a little girl in the background, that's my 4-year-old. She'll be turning 5 coming up in like a week and a half. It's going to be awesome. Elise turning 5, big girl. So we got all that going on. Really trying to reset my brain for the season. It's been a crazy off season. We haven't had off seasons really for a while. It feels like this whole thing is just 365 days out of the year now. Not complaining. To be able to do this with you all, and we appreciate the audience. CW Pod's numbers keep getting better, and it seems that you like some of these more monologue shows as well. I'm going to keep doing the interviews, but a lot of you like the monologues, and just so I can dive deep on topics that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to be doing that a lot more. So, it's funny. I'm at Lake of the Ozarks last week. I'm with my sister and all her kids. She got 3 kids. They're all in high school, 2 girls and a boy. I'm with my aunt and uncle from Arizona. I'm with my parents, my wife, and my daughters. So, you couldn't have really a more wide-ranging group of people as far as interests go. It's hard. And what was cool about it is the place where we stayed only had one TV in the entire lake house, which I loved because I'm like, y'all don't need to be watching TV. We're at the frickin' lake. Get outside and jump in the lake. Go fishing. Let's go skiing. That type of stuff. We don't need to be on TV. And but at night, it was like 100 degrees. It's hotter than hell. We're already at the end of the night to come in and just chill out together as a family. And there was one thing that we could all agree on, that we all wanted to watch the Olympics. And here's the thing, too. If y'all remember me and Ross Peterson, our show on KXNO, for 8 years, we made fun of the Olympics. It was one of the themes of our show. We always made fun of the Olympics, which I'm sorry, Aiden Wyatt, who's the producer of this show. He's an absolute Olympic junkie. And you feel free to, Aiden, you can jump in on
I
this.
cannot get enough of it. I have it on right now as we're recording this.
Aiden, I hadn't seen you in like a week, and I bumped into him yesterday. He's like, all I've been doing is watching the Olympics. So I want you to chime in after I give this take, though, because I want to see. I feel like I know Aiden pretty well. He's like my only son, and I would guess he's going to fit into this. But I found it fascinating, and I've been looking at some of the TV numbers and these astronomical numbers that the Olympics are pulling. And I was thinking about it, like what makes it, like all these different people. In my family, we've got hardcore right wingers, we've got hardcore lefties, we got sports fans. You got people like my wife who don't even like sports. And then you had like my daughter, who the 4-year-old doesn't really care much, but the 9-year-old, like, she's not what I would call an athlete. But every single one of us is enthralled by the Olympics. And like, so Ross and I would make fun of them in the sense of like the corruption, the political stuff that goes behind of choosing these cities. That's what I don't like about it. But like the games themselves, they captivate us. And the TV numbers behind all of this are proving it. And it's especially high this year. And I'm asking myself why. And then I want to give Colin Cowherd credit, because he kind of pointed into this. And I on his monologue from, I believe, his opening monologue on Monday. And he kind of led me into this, and it made sense, and I want to go a little bit deeper on it. And Cowherd's basically saying that, people are sick of everybody hating each other. And it makes sense when I think about it, because when you watch the Olympics, there will be these countries that are competing with one another who are at literal war. Doesn't happen very often, but it does some. I remember the last Winter Olympics. It was a Ukrainian athlete was going head to head with somebody from Russia. I don't think they were called Russia then. Whatever, you get the point. What I love about it, I'm watching. Gal from Des Moines was running the 5,000. Is that right, Aiden? You're an Olympic nut. I'm not. There was a gal from Des Moines who was running the 5,000. Is that correct?
Yep.
Urbandale?
I think Yep. Yeah.
Clarissa something. She's stud. She got in like top 7 or 8. And I'm watching it, and these women from Kenya and Ethiopia. There's an American, all in the mix, and they get the race over. It's this incredible finish where this one gal has a kick at the end, passes her teammate in the last 100 meters, and then they all just like they collapse basically because they've given everything, and they just collapse right there, and they're all just like lying there catching their breath. Some of them are just, and they all just get up and start hugging each other. Now, I get it. They've competed against each other, world championships. It's not the first time they've seen each other. But it was so cool that they all just like get up, and it was like they didn't even care who won or what place they got. They all just start hugging each other and handing each other water and helping each other up. There was another one yesterday. Simone Biles and the other American gymnast, they get the bronze and the silver. And then another gal from another country wins the gold. And our American gymnasts are like pointing at her and like bowing to her as she's on the stage. And it's just like, man, that's freaking Simone Biles. That's like Michael Jordan doing that to another gymnast. Like that's pretty awesome. And I don't know. And maybe I'm just getting, the older I get, just more jaded. Maybe I'm becoming the curmudgeon. But when I pull up this stupid thing, and that's a cell phone, I'm really starting to get jaded about it. But like, you know, you pick it up and it's just like everything's negative. Everybody's bitching about everything. And there's a lot to bitch about, frankly. And I can already see it. Some of you coming at me, well, you're a white male, you're privileged, you don't have to worry. And you're right. Not denying any of that. I respect all that. But it does get tiring, right? When I'm sitting here in my, you know, air-conditioned home, and you know, like most of us have that in the United States, and like I get it. We should always push for progress, for things to be better for everyone, equality, all that good stuff. But like it does get tiring. Like when you want to read the news and see what's going on. Like, hey, did Iran bomb Israel? Like, I'm just wanting the news, and everybody's just mad from all sides, and it's going to keep getting worse with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in the election coming up, and it's just like the Olympics just feel like a break from that. Even, you know, and this is CW Pod. This isn't two guys. Like, we do dive into political stuff. We do get this is a different show, and most of you know that when you choose to download this. But the Olympics to me feel like a real break from all of it, from the geopolitical stuff, from the stock market crashing to, you know, just everything. It's like you turn on the Olympics, and I root for America, obviously, but if they don't win, I'm still interested in it. It's like we were watching like rowing. One night we were watching equestrian, like these French gals just kicking ass out on their horses. Like, and it was just like, we're just hanging on the edge of our seat. Oh my God, what's her time going to be? And it really spoke to me how we had all these people from my family. Again, Arizona, grew up, and these folks are Seattle people. Okay. You do the math. You got my old man who's turning 70, who's a Southwest Iowa boy. True and true. You do the math on where he lies. All my sister and her kids are all Southwest Iowa. You got us up here in their opinion, we're the city folks now. I would make an argument about that, but you know what I mean? Like, we all come together in these Olympics have just been captivating. And I think that it speaks to society where we're looking for anything, you know? And I hope we can do that for you here at Iowa Everywhere. I hope, like, when you tune into two guys, Hassel and I have one rule. We're going to make fun of everybody. We're going to make fun of everybody, including ourselves. Nobody is safe when it comes to our show. This show is going to be a little bit more, you know, we dive into things, but we want to keep it with common sense and do all that. And man, Aiden, come on in here, because you're a sports fan. You love sports, but you're not a junkie like I used to be when I was your age. You're not. You have other interests. You'll watch a movie. You do things to get it. Why are you so obsessed with the Olympics? Do you think I am onto something, I guess, is what I'm saying? You can tell me no.
No, I think you
tell
are.
Me no.
Because I think you're right that everyone is kind of sick of being mad at each other. Now it's like, oh, we all have the same rooting interest now. And even then, like, it's been easy, like you said, to just pick up anything and pick a random country to win or something.
Yeah, it's like, man, I'm watching those races, and I'm like, I'd like to see Ethiopia win. They don't have a lot going for them, and this is pretty cool that these gals have trained, and like, that's pretty awesome that they got gold and silvers. Like, what else, you know?
And for me, it's just country. Like, it's a collection of the greatest athletes in the world right now. Like, I like to think of it, how long would it take me to run 5,000 meters, right?
Those women were incredible.
Yeah.
Like, And then I was watching the 800 was on.
That's
right
a sprint for people.
Yeah. Those women are insane. Like, they don't even, I'd die after 400 this age. But no,
And I mean, I assume you watched the 100-meter dash.
yeah, I watched most of it. Yeah, I did. I'm really into the team stuff. I don't get into the swimming as much. My wife and kids and sister and them were loving the swimming. Ledecky's insane. I watched the one race where she beat everybody by like 6 laps. Like, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not as into it. I like the track more, but what I really love is like last night I was up late working and I was watching men's volleyball. That's
Men's
insane.
volleyball is nuts. Because all the guys were like 6'8".
Well, it's funny because my nieces are like varsity volleyball players, good volleyball players at their level. They're going to have a really good team this year. Hopefully they can make it to state, go Cardinals. And my niece Addison, who's going to be a junior, who's all conference, like she's a stud. She's like, I don't even like watching the men. They make it look too easy. She goes, all it is they're just spiking it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like robots out there.
So I've been watching a ton of sand volleyball more than indoor volleyball.
Of course you have.
But
I'm a huge sand volleyball guy. It's my favorite sport in the Olympics.
I think I was telling Downs this the other day. It's like the men's game. It's kind of similar to basketball, in where the men's sand game is a lot of like high flying.
Yeah.
What would essentially be dunking in basketball, but spiking. And then the women's game is a lot more finesse, and it's a little more entertaining to watch for me personally.
Totally agree. They're placing the ball in different spots. They're whatever. I case in point is I think we all should take note of it, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just people like the Olympics and I'm reading too much into it. But Cowherd put that idea in my head. I started thinking about last week. And again, like my family's very different. We are not all like-minded people. This is not like a melting pot of Williamses when you get us all together. There's been fights. It's very different. But we all just sat there and watched the Olympics. It was cool. And we loved it. Like nobody wanted to change the channel. Although my right-hand man, Charlie McKenna, the blue 22 was racing one night. And we had to flip off the, I believe it was the swimming to watch old Chuck run in the feature. But yeah, I don't know. I think everybody has rights to their opinions. I think that one of the things that makes social media very valuable is that people can give those opinions, but you can also cross lines when it comes to just hate-filled stuff. And to me, that's what wears me out. That's what makes me spend less time on social media now than I probably ever have. And I don't know. I think it comes together. A couple other topics I wanted to hit on. Some NIL stuff in college athletics. I want to talk about Baylor over the weekend. So Baylor Football, again, presented as always by our friends at Steeple Ridge Bourbon. Go up and get yourself a bottle. Tailgate season coming up around the corner, baby. Baylor is wearing these, their coaching staff is wearing these shirts that say, "We pay players." And this started in Las Vegas at Big 12 Media Day because there was a situation where Dave Aranda was asked a question, and he's been struggling. Aranda's asked, how are you getting all these, how's your recruiting getting better? And he goes, well, we pay the players. Well, no shit, Dave. Everybody pays the players. Well, whatever. I like Aranda. In fact, I keep thinking they're going to bounce back because I just think he's too good of a coach to stay down. We'll see. Maybe I'm going to be dead wrong. But I'm feeling less confident about Dave Aranda now. And let me explain to you. They're all wearing these shirts, and they're making a huge deal about it, about paying players. Everybody pays the players, dude. This is like going into a business, a brick-and-mortar business, and you walk in there in the year 2024, and they got a big sign up that says, hey, we're on Facebook. Like our Facebook page. Again, no shit. Everybody's on Facebook, dude. Like if that's how you're advertising to your people, hey, like our Facebook page. The Baylor we pay players thing is so backwards to me. Like no shit. Everybody's paying the players, dude. Why are you bragging about it? Are you paying them more? No, because you're just not. You're not paying them more than LSU. You're not paying them more than Alabama. You're not paying them more than Georgia. You're not paying them more than Ohio State. You're not paying them as much as probably a lot of schools in your own conference. The bragging about paying players thing is really odd to me in 2024. It's a turnoff to me. I've like sat, and again, I like Aranda. Everybody's listened to me for years knows that I like this guy. I think he's a pretty sharp dude. I don't understand their messaging here. Like, what are you trying to... Are you in your mind thinking that some player is going to see this on social media and be like, oh, they're going to pay me? Everybody's getting paid, bro. You know what? It reeks of desperation to me. And I'm seriously sitting here now questioning what's going on in those Baylor coaching meetings. Like the messaging behind it, because they control everything. These coaches are all control freaks. Like, whose idea in the Baylor program was it to print these shirts and start plastering it all over social media? This is the desperate business that is, hey, like us on Facebook. And then you go to their Facebook page and all it is just posts with zero engagement with these people trying to sell you something. That's what this is. I'm questioning Baylor now. I think this is a very desperate, like, we know we're getting fired and we are throwing everything out there. We know you pay the players. I get it. The players are getting paid. I don't know. Weird deal to me. I'm probably overthinking it. I tend to do this. I'm selling Baylor now because of these stupid T-shirts. How's that for analysis? The last thing I have for you is on the college athletic stuff, and thought about this a lot last week at the lake, where, and Hassel and I have touched on this quite a bit on Two Guys. If you have $22 million in an athletic department, where does the money go? And I've been thinking, because I worry about this with Iowa State. If I'm an Iowa basketball fan, I'd probably start to worry about this too. But like with Iowa State, I worry if you're not going to have the $22 million, and this is all going to get reported on. I don't think that these athletic departments are going to be able to hide this. So, like, I think that with FOIA, and like, we're going to get access, we being the media, to what you're spending your money on. And you frankly probably should, because we don't know where this is all going with Title IX, right? Like, we don't know how that's all going to work out. So this is going to get, people are going to be snooping about this. And I think rightfully so. I think the media is very much entitled to, especially with these public institutions. We got to know. And I'm curious, like, because there's always been a sense of, well, even if the team sucks, that's still my school, man. These are still kids. I met my wife there. I got 2 degrees from that place. My grandpa went there. I'm worried if everyone in your conference, let's use Iowa State as the best example because they're in a different financial situation to Iowa. I will make this a comparison to Iowa basketball here momentarily. But if you're an Iowa State fan, and it comes out that, I'm just throwing a number out here, hopefully they're not going to be that low, but that Oklahoma State and TCU and Baylor and Texas Tech and Kansas State and whoever are all spending $22 million on sports, and you find out you're only spending 10. I could see this becoming very professional very quickly. Hear me out. We all knew that the players were getting paid the last few years, and it didn't matter. We still showed up. There was still the purity. Oh, these are kids. Watch how you talk to them. All that was a thing. What I'm saying is, what do you see in professional sports when I grew up near Kansas City? We saw this with the Royals a lot when I was a kid. When the Yankees are spending 15 times what you are in your salary cap, or not your salary cap, but your payroll. You lose all hope because you're like, well, we're not investing in the players, so we're not even going to freaking go. And there's always been the element of college athletics where it's like, well, if we had the right coach and we can develop and the schedule hits right. Here, the difference between pro and college sports is when the Royals sucked, they got the first pick. Are they going to give the first pick on National Signing Day to the worst team in the Big 12? No, that's not how this is going to work. And I think these athletic departments have a real messaging challenge in front of them when it comes to how they are allocating money, how they are spending their money. Because while a guy like me, I see great value in having a volleyball team. I see great value in having a men's golf team, and having cross country, and I think there's value in all this. I think it makes a campus better when you have all these sports. I think there's pride. I think there's value to the football player who is going to go to the NFL, sitting down and having lunch with the swimming team, because they're in the same building. I think there's value to that educational experience for these student athletes. And I think it helps it diversifies your campus. It diversifies your athletic department. I think there's value to all this. I don't think the casual fan cares. And I don't think I'm wrong here. And I think what you'll see in the next couple of years, if these athletic departments are not spending in the way that the fans see directly indicative to winning in the sport that they care about. Here's Iowa basketball. You're going to spend money on your football program. Iowa will. They have to in the Big Ten. Okay? But you guys still care about basketball. Wrestling seems different to me. We're going to see how all these wrestling programs go. Feels like they may be on their own collectives doing their own thing. We'll see. I don't know enough to speak well. But if you're an Iowa basketball fan and you grew up watching Chris Street and Jess Settles and Chris Kingsbury and all those boys and Tommy Davis and the Dr. Tom era, and you find out, well, we have $22 million. 15 of it is going to football. 3 of it is going to women's basketball. 2 of it is going to other women's sports because we're trying to do the Title IX thing. And then men's basketball, you're going to get $1 million. It's just an example. I don't know how this is going to go. But you're going to go, why in the hell should I go to Carver Hawkeye Arena and support this if you don't even care about it? If you're telling us we don't care about men's basketball here. Because that's exactly what you're doing. And this is a real challenge for basketball programs across the country. Look at Creighton. Look at Villanova. They don't have football programs. They're going to be putting $15 million into one basketball program. They're basically the pros now. A lot of these guys are going to make more money in college than they will their first year as a pro. So I don't know what the answer is because I don't know how this is all going to look. If you're an athletics director out there, an administrator out there, I think this is something you really have to think about. Like, I don't think that, our fans have always shown up in the past. I think a lot of that was because of the college model. They're still going to care. But just like professional teams now, if you're these notoriously cheap franchises where the fans are just like, the White Sox come to mind. White Sox fans hate their management. Think they're a bunch of imbeciles. You're going to have like GMs now in these college departments. It's not, this kid, his dad went to Iowa State. We think we have a pretty good shot. Like, those days are gone. You may get a couple of them. But it's going to be directly like where these fans are going to have access to, you're paying this program this much, you're paying this program this much. It means you probably don't care as much about that program. And it's really hard for these programs, like these schools that care about multiple sports, right? Like Iowa State is it's what I know the best. People care about football and basketball and women's basketball. Iowa does too. You probably care more about football than you do basketball, but I don't think it definitely hasn't always been that way, and I don't think it has to be that way. I don't know. It's a fascinating world that we are about to enter, and I don't come here to you today with all the answers. I don't, because I don't even know the direction in which we're going. But it feels to me like there's going to have to be some messaging, some real strategic messaging when it comes to all this stuff, because I do think fans will be quicker to reject in this new era because of the spending, and they're going to know where the money's going. And they're going to say, well, we've shown up, we've done this, we've done that, we put in our booster money, we pay for parking, we do all this, but you're barely investing into that program that I love. Because there are people that just like basketball more than football. It's a real thing. There are people who care about football who don't care about basketball. And I'm talking more casual fans here, okay? Like, I'm talking less about the die-hardcore, but I do think you could lose some of those people too. I really do. Because I think they're going to see it more transactional. This isn't an indictment on paying the players. The players deserve what they're going to get. But in the past, it was so hidden from us that, you know, you didn't really know. And I think it's going to be pretty transparent here in the next couple of years. Can't wait to find out. More importantly, I can't wait for games to start. And we can have some more like real sports conversations and talk about the games and all that good stuff. I'm going to wrap it up today for you. 30-minute monologue. You've heard enough of me. I will be back next week, leaving town on Wednesday, getting back Saturday or Sunday. It's going to depend on how my guy Gio's doing in Knoxville. If he's in the couple front rows, I'm going to probably try and get back there in case he could win the Knoxville Nationals. But I'll be back. Hassel and I will be back with our normal shows on Monday and Thursday next week as we start to really dive into the football season. Thank our sponsor, Steeple Ridge. Thank our friends at Channel Seed for bringing us a studio sponsorship here on CW Pod. Have a great rest of your week. Remember to follow, like, and subscribe everywhere you get your podcasts. And we appreciate you tuning in to Iowa Everywhere. Later.